What's up, everybody? Today we are going to look at the least likely candidates to the most very likely candidates for the head coaching job. And Deni Avdija got one vote for most improved player of the year. So what's next for Deni Avdija in his evolution as a player? Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. So let's get into it today, guys. Normally do a Q&A on Fridays, but I made it a 6 o'clock video, or really it's early at 5:51 because for you NFL fans, the second and third rounds of the NFL draft are tonight. So I wanted to do the video at around 6 o'clock so you guys are able to catch this content and be able to watch your team's second and third round selections. So again, we're going to look at some candidates for the head coaching job, from the least likely candidates to the most likely candidates. And Deni Avdija got one vote for most improved player of the year. So what's next in his development as far as a player? Are we thinking all-star within the next couple of years? We're going to debate that. And then at the end, we're going to get into Q&A like we always do to start the Friday night off right. So let's get into it. So looking at the head coaching search, one name you can take off real quick. Juwan Howard actually accepted a assistant coaching job with the Brooklyn Nets, so you can go ahead and take him out of the running for the job. But we're going to start with the least likely candidates, a few that were named. So let's start to it with the least likely candidates. One name that's been mentioned by myself and a lot of people on this channel, include my guy Mike Budenholzer, obviously the former Bucks and then Hawks head coach. Mike Budenholzer, and I'm actually getting a lot of this information off of bulletsforever.com. So definitely shout out to bulletsforever.com with they did a lot of the legwork as far as a lot of the information behind a lot of these coaches. So definitely shout out to bulletsforever.com. So looking at Mike Budenholzer, he actually won a 2021 NBA championship with Milwaukee and led Atlanta to their superstar list, but a high flying season in 2024 or 2014, to 2015. So he's a guy who gets a lot out of his players. Definitely sets the standard. He's able to get a lot from very little. If you look at the roster in Atlanta in 2014 and 2015, again, no superstars. And, like I said, very surprising he lost his job in Milwaukee, considering he won the 2021 NBA championship. And again, he's a coach who defense is prioritized. He had the perfect players in Milwaukee to implement his defense between Giannis, Drew Holiday, the list goes on. So why is he a least likely candidate? Well, easy. The Wizards are year 2 in a rebuild, so chances are he's unlikely to take the job. He's definitely going to want a job where an organization that's closer to contention. So that's why I look at him as being a least likely candidate. Some other names to look at, everybody. Mike D'Antoni, don't see him wanting the job for the same reasons. Steve Nash, same. Randy Whitman, been there, done that. Mark Jackson, he's definitely been an intriguing name, but for some reason, I don't know why he's been black. I mean, it appears, I'm not going to say it's officially, but it appears he's been blacklisted. He has not had the job so far. Because, looking at Mark Jackson, he's a broadcaster turned coach, turned broadcaster again. And he did lead the Golden State Warriors from a lot of their teams to a playoff contender right before Steve Kerr came in and subsequently made history winning championships. So, he's definitely a name to look at. But, it is kind of intriguing because maybe he uses the Wizards potentially as a team to get back into the coaching game, get back into the NBA. And if he can find success with the Wizards, maybe. But, there's a reason why he has been hired. I don't know why. He has been hired since 2014. So a couple more names to look at, or 3 more names to look at. Obviously, Juwan Howard is out the running. Jerry Stackhouse, former Wizard, former Vanderbilt men's basketball coach. He was recently let go in Vanderbilt. So, I don't see him as being a candidate. And Patrick Ewing, former Georgetown men's basketball head coach and former New York Knicks center legend. I don't see him making that move because similar reasons. It didn't pan out with Georgetown. And we looking at Wes Unseld Jr., we've already tried to go the assistant or coach route to head coach. So I think that I don't see him as being a candidate, obviously. Now, let's get into somewhat likely, could be intriguing moves if the money's right. Now, one name you're going to know off the top was Bradley Bill's favorite candidate when he was here in the DMV, Sam Cassell, currently with the Boston Celtics, longtime NBA player who hails from Baltimore. So he's definitely a local product. He's definitely been in consideration for a lot of teams. So Sam Cassell is somewhat likely. He was an assistant coach with the Wizards from 2009 to 2014, but he's never been a head coach, but he's definitely been an assistant coach. So he is somewhat likely. A couple guys I'm looking at, really, Caron Butler, the Miami Heat, former Wizard with Gilbert Arenas and Antoine Jameson. He's been on the Miami Heat's coaching staff for the last couple of years. So this could be a good landing spot for him, considering his link to the franchise with, the big three of Gilbert Arenas, Antoine Jameson, and himself. He's somewhat likely if the money's right. So, y'all, let's get into the most likely candidates for head coach. So I'm scrolling down real quick. Two I'm really looking at. Now I'm gonna throw a third in there. Now I'm not gonna say it's very likely he get the job, but this is kind of a I don't know, underdog move. JJ Redick was named. JJ Redick, the former Duke product, who's actually from Virginia. He's from Southwest Virginia, so he's not a DMV guy, but he's definitely from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Current NBA, ESPN NBA analyst. I don't see him as being a candidate. He has interviewed for the Charlotte Hornets vacancy. I do like JJ Redick. I am a big fan of the podcast, but I don't know. He hasn't coached before. So, but let's get into the two most likely candidates, y'all. And I think I think we all know both of these candidates. Number one, David Vanderpool. Now, along with Brian Keefe, David Vanderpool, both him and Brian Keefe were retained while the rest of the coaching staff was let go. A lot of employees within the Washington Wizards organization was let go. And Brian Keefe and David Vanderpool were retained for good reason. A couple of good coaches. They were hires by this current front office. And David Vanderpool, the list goes on as far as how much knowledge he has for basketball, man. He was brought in for a reason because of his development skills, his knowledge. So, whether it is an assistant coach or the head coach, I think he's definitely a great asset for the coaching staff going forward for the Washington Wizards because, again, he knows how to develop. Development is key with him. And with us going into year two of a rebuild, you need coaches who know how to develop because development is key. That is the priority. That is priority number 1 through 100. Priority has to be key here, or priority. Look, development has to be the key here in DC for the Wizards, man, because, we're going to get even younger. Tyus Jones looks like he's on his way out. We'll see with Landry Shamet. Kyle Kuzma, he looks like it could be a long-term fit, but with his team-friendly deal, if they get a deal too good to pass up, he could be on the move. So you're looking at, with 2 first rounders and a second rounder in this upcoming draft, it's going to be a younger team. So you have to prioritize development. And then let's get to the most likely coach, the most likely candidate for head coach. That is, drum roll, please, Brian Keefe. And look, let's kind of break down Brian Keefe real quick. Looking at the product on the court under Wes Unseld Jr., not only the first half of the season, but the previous seasons, you saw a coach where the lineups were very questionable. Adjustments on the fly, adjustments at halftime, adjustments just were non-existent. He just didn't make adjustments. He stuck with lineups. He didn't really evolve lineups. He didn't really get into game planning as far as matching up certain players against certain opponents. For example, if you go against a tall lineup like Cleveland Cavaliers, he's still rolling out the same lineup he was if we're going against the Knicks. He was very stagnant. And like I said, it's not a popularity contest. I actually think that Wes Unseld Jr. is a very nice guy, very nice down to earth guy. But this is not a popularity contest. This is a performance driven league, and he just didn't get the job done. Enter Brian Keefe. Automatically, the worst areas of this team this season was rebounding, defense, and really you could say culture to a certain degree because playing hard, playing to win. You didn't see that under Wes Unseld Jr. Very early in the first half of the season, you saw a team that, when you get into the fourth quarter, if we were down, they were waving a white flag, and the fight was gone by the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left. The white flag was waved, and it was like, what is the point? If you're trying to rebuild, if you're trying to instill a culture of playing hard, playing to win, playing the right way, you don't wave the white flag in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left. The Brian Keefe did a lot better with that. We were very, very competitive compared to the Wes Unseld Jr. era, or at least the first half of the season. More competitive, more fire, just more effort defensively. Defense was better. Communication on defense was better. Perimeter defense was better. Wasn't a complete product, but it got better. Interior defense, especially with the acquisition of Rashawn Holmes and Marvin Bagley III, interior defense got better. Rebounding got better, especially with Marvin Bagley III coming in. You saw players like Deni, Corey Kispert, Kyle Kuzma get in there and get rebounds. Rashawn Holmes came in, and while he's very limited offensively, rebounding wise, he got in there and he banged with the bigger bigs, man, and he was a dog. So those three areas were a lot better as far as effort, defense, and rebounding got better under Brian Keefe. Plus, the locker room likes him, and a lot of reports came out as far as this and that with Jordan Poole. There's fights in the locker room. And like I said, upon talking to the guys at the exit interviews, it wasn't the case. They do like playing with each other. There is a sense of chemistry with this current group. Now, there's are going to be guys who aren't going to be here next year, and that's why leadership. When you're looking at Kyle Kuzma, emerging leaders like Deni Avdija and Jordan Poole, and even Corey Kispert to a certain degree, is very important because there's going to be a younger roster next year. So Brian Keefe, to me, is the most likely candidate. I think that he definitely has a leg up on the vacancy for the head coaching position for the Washington Wizards, and I'm going to say he's my choice. I definitely want to see Brian Keefe be the next head coach for the Washington Wizards. Like I said, we went over some good names. Mike Budenholzer. Here's the thing: with a rebuild going on, you're not going to get a big sexy name like a Mike Budenholzer. Now, when we get close to contention, when we make those moves, that one trade, that one signing, those few moves that put us over the top when we're getting closer to contention, you very well could see a higher profile coach. But if Brian Keefe does his job well under a rebuild, why not keep good times rolling? And if he doesn't pan out, then you can try to go out there and throw money at a coach that can guide this team to hopefully our next championship. So I'm looking at Brian Keefe. He's definitely my pick for the next head coach. So, definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Is Brian Keefe your guy? David Vanderbilt your guy? Do we still need to go out there and throw some money and hopefully pick up a big fish? Definitely let me know down below what you guys are thinking, because look, you very well could get the news in the next couple of weeks. Obviously free agency's coming up, the draft's coming up, the season's still going, so the playoffs are still in full motion. But for the Washington Wizards, at least, a head coach is definitely a position that needs to be filled sooner rather than later. But Brian Keefe is my guy, so definitely comment below and let me know what you guys are thinking. So Deni Avdija, Most Improved Player award, got 1 vote. So if you look at the fact that he broke out, what is the next step for Deni? But before we get into that, tonight's episode is brought to you by Nissan. So, are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. There are 3 great options with the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, and the Nissan Armada. But I'm going to roll with the Nissan Pathfinder because it is my favorite. It's your favorite. It's everybody's favorite, right? Because the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder has room up to 8. An expansive cargo capacity, and advanced available 4x4 capability. With 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing, when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is here to answer. So, look, all you had to do is take the Nissan Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? I do. Make that switch to Locked On Sports today. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. All right, let's get back into it, everybody. Deni Avdija got 1 vote for Most Improved Player. And obviously, Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers got the award, and rightfully so. He's definitely taken that next step as far as his development. But look at Deni Avdija. We know this was officially his breakout campaign offensively. And in my opinion, he should have got more than 1 vote for Most Improved Player, because let's go over his career stat line real quick, because you're going to see a guy who this is his year where he definitely took that step. Just looking at games played and games started. His first year was 2020 to 2021. Obviously, the year with Russ Westbrook. He played in 54 games, but only started in 32, where he shot 31% from 3. And let's look at rebound numbers: 5 rebounds a game and 6.3 points a game. Next year, 2021 to 2022, his sophomore campaign, played all 82 games, but only started 8. And you look at it, he shot 31% again from 3. Rebound numbers went up to 5.2, and his points per game went up to 8.4. His junior year, 2022 to 2023, played in 76 games, but started 40. His minutes per games went up to 26 from 24 this previous year. His three-point percentage did go down, and if you guys remember, that was a year that he worked with Drew Hanlon, so we definitely had expectations of him shooting the ball better, but it wasn't the case. But we're going to get to this year. But he shot 29% for three, so he did regress, but his rebound numbers did get better, 6.4 rebounds a game, and he went up to 9.2 points a game. Now into the current season. He played 75 games, but he started all 75 games he played, right? His minutes per game went up to 30 minutes a night. His field goal percentage went from 50, where the 3 previous years it was 43%, 43%, and 41%. So usually league average around 45. He shot 50% from the field, y'all. 3-point percentage. Come on now. 37%. Last year, 29. The previous year, 31, and then 31. 37%. League average is 35. He definitely worked on his 3-point shot, as we saw. The release was crisper. Yeah, not crispier. It ain't no chicken wing, but it was faster, more fluid. He was less hesitant to take the shot, and it showed. As a man on the mission, he definitely looked better as far as his 3-point shot. And let's look at his points. Rebounds real quick, 7.2 rebounds. And we didn't talk about assists, but this year he had 3.8 assists as opposed to 2.8 the previous year, 2, and then his rookie year, 1.2 assists. So his vision has gotten better. His assist numbers have gotten better. Let's see. Points per game, 14.7. Come on now. 14.7 points a game, considering last year 9 points. So you're looking at a 5-point difference. So he has broken out offensively. We knew he was a dog defensively, but offensively he has broken out. Now, obviously, offensively, there are certain things. There's still things he needs to work on, right? What are they? He definitely needs to work on the left hand. Now, we know he's right-hand dominant, and most players are. Don't get it twisted. A lot of players, not many of you think are very proficient with their left hand. They learn to evolve, but very little guys. I mean, let's be real here, but he's got to work on the left hand. He's got to be able to, when defenses push him left, be able to attack from the left. So definitely want to see him improve his left hand. Mid-range, you got the 3-point shot down. Definitely want to see him continue to be a threat from 3-point range and continue to attack the basket and work on attacking through or finishing through contact, which he got a lot better with. But mid-range will officially make him a 3-level scorer. So, and of course, defensively, a lot of people say he took a step back. I think he, to a certain degree, he did take a small step back, but he still was above average, really good defender in the NBA. So I definitely want to see him continue to be that dog defensively, offensively, consistency. I'm trying to tell you. Definitely want to see him become an official 3-level scorer. Definitely with that mid-range game. Hopefully he works on it, man. Definitely adds that to his tool bag offensively, but definitely want to see Deni be that 3-level scorer, that 3-and-D guy that we thought he could be. So what is the next level, y'all? Definitely comment below. What is the next level, y'all, for Deni Avdija? All-Star? Here's the thing. Is All-Star a legitimate goal next year? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the year after All-Star is a legitimate goal. I think with him breaking out, right now the biggest thing with Deni is consistency. Being that consistent threat day in and day out every night on the court. And that's the thing that really separates your average starter to your all-stars, to your more higher echelon players, which is consistency. Can you consistently be that threat every night? And that's what I charge Deni. I think that adding a mid-range shot is going to definitely make him a bigger weapon offensively. And who knows, depending on what happens in the offseason, like I said it time and time again, the dominoes have not fallen. So very well could have a lot more responsibility offensively next year, but especially considering who might be the point guard, if it's Jordan Poole, Ty Jones, whatever, but I don't see All-Star as being a goal this upcoming season. I see it the season after. I definitely think All-Star, if he's consistent this year, because he's shown that defensively, man, he's a dog. Offensively, man, the biggest thing, I think we all know this, is the biggest thing with Deni Avdija is confidence. And with him breaking out offensively, the confidence is all-time high. So, I definitely want to challenge not only the front office, or, finding people that can compliment him to a certain degree, compliment Jordan Poole, because I think he's a long-term piece. So the draft is key. Finding players that can coexist with, Deni Avdija, with Jordan Poole, with Corey Kispert, Bilal Coulibaly. That's the biggest thing about his upcoming draft. Finding guys who can complement this young core, because I think that's key going forward in the rebuild. And so I definitely think that, he's definitely going to get better this year. He's definitely going to be better. So again, I don't see all-stars being the next level, but I think the next level is being a consistent weapon on offense every night. And so looking at his stat line, I mean, he averaged 14.7 points a game. So you round it up 15 points. So I think he could be a 20 points a game scorer next year. And I think that's definitely a goal for him next year, is being a 20 point plus scorer every night. Rebound numbers, I mean, he's around 7 rebounds. So, I'm definitely looking for, 7.5, 8, slightly build that up. Assist numbers, I definitely want to see get better. I definitely want to see him around 5 assists, because this team has to utilize his vision, man. So I don't think all-star is a goal. I think that the next season, if he shows consistency offensively and really becoming a complete player, both bridging his offensive breakout and his defensive prowess, you very well could be a goal the next year. But this upcoming season, I think the biggest goal for Deni Avdija is being consistent, being a 20 points a game plus score. And that's my goal for him. And definitely, again, we're going to left hand getting more nasty as far as aggressively attacking the basket, utilizing his vision. So I think he's gonna be all right, man. Like I said, it was fun watching him finally break out the season. And again, look at his stats. Every year he's gotten better. Even if you go to 2018 and 2019 when he was with Maccabi Tel Aviv, 8 games played with Maccabi Tel Aviv, 4 points a game. 2019 and 2020, 4 points a game. And then it got better and better as the competition got better. 6, 8, 9, now 15 points a game. So he's a guy who's definitely has the work ethic, and he gets better every year. So I think he can definitely be a guy who could drop 20 points a night. And like I said, a lot of dominoes had to fall as far as roster construction, but watching him, Jordan Poole, and the offense together, a faster offense, especially Corey Kispert, Bilal Coulibaly, watching them in the offense pushing the pace, man, is very intriguing. So yeah, you guys definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys think, man. What are you expecting from Deni Avdija, aka Turbo, next season? And definitely comment below and let me know what you guys are thinking, man, because I do have high aspirations for him next year. So if you do, let me know. If you don't, let me know why. So we're going to get into Q&A, man, and we're going to chop it up. Like I said, it's 6:13 for you football fans. I'm going to get this wrapped up before the second round commences today in the NFL draft. So let's get into the Q&A next. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you find and hire professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those people who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to a perfect role in a new company. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place, man. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Woo! Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. So I tell you guys all the time, I got out the United States Army in 2011. And obviously, the transition from military life can be really hard for people, man. Military, as much as I love the Army, doesn't really set people up for life after. So, job sites like LinkedIn are key because number one, they hire, they definitely help you get your resume together. They work with your resume, finding the best ways to stack your resume so employers can definitely find you. So I definitely recommend LinkedIn. I've gotten really good jobs, government jobs, either on the government, federal or on the state level with LinkedIn. So definitely recommend it, guys. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So everybody, let's get into the Q&A. We got 23 people in the night. I get it. It's the second and third rounds of the NBA draft, man. So that's why I wanted to get this started early. We went ahead and finalized the end of the season grades. Obviously, Deni and the Young Core was the most popular video. The bench one, I get it, man. Definitely the Young Core gets all the attention, so I get it. But I gotta put the content out, man. So I definitely appreciate you guys watching my end of the season. I'm having a brain fart. Grades. There we go. So let's get into the Q&A. Nelson Too True said we need Mike Budenholzer. I agree. I think Mike Budenholzer would be the perfect coaching candidate for this team. Nothing against Brian Keefe, because I think Brian Keefe is definitely the best candidate. But looking outside of the organization, Mike Budenholzer is a guy who's shown he can help building a building team into a contender when you match them with a front office that knows what they're doing. And we have a front office that knows what they're doing. So I think that with him being a hard-nosed coach, a guy that knows how to handle ego, especially all-star and all-star level egos. He's shown he can do that, especially in Milwaukee with Giannis, Chris Middleton. So I think he would be the perfect candidate. But here's the thing: would he want to come to a team who's year 2 in a rebuild, where right now we don't know what the end year of a rebuild is? We could be in a rebuild 3 more years, 4 more years. A lot of players don't think it's going to be a long-term rebuild. The front office definitely says that, look, they're going to take their time. So I think they should do it right. It's not rush this thing. But if the players get to the level, if they develop quicker and we're a better team quicker, then I'm all in. Definitely want to see this team become a contender sooner than later. But I also want to see the rebuild done right. So I definitely appreciate the comment, my man Nelson. Too true. Backs attack. Whoa, it's going to be Keefe because nobody good wants his job. Good point. He'll stay for the rebuild, but the minute something better comes along, he's out. I agree. I definitely agree. I think he's going to use the Washington Wizards as a showcase to show what he can do. And if he's successful, he very well could go get another job. But if he's successful and likes it here, he very well could be the long-term answer. Brian Keefe has gotten a reaction out of these players. He got more out of the players than Wes Unseld Jr. did. He showed up all the areas that we needed to work on. He's got the respect of the locker room, and I think he definitely has the leg up on the job, in my opinion. So, but I agree with you to a certain degree. I definitely think that, this is a job that nobody wants, man. DC, the front office wants to make this a destination for free agents, but right now it's not. It's not the most sexiest job. And right now, and that's why I think that Brian Keefe is the man, because, most high profile guys aren't going to want to come in, with a team that can attract free agents, which I do believe is going to change. But right now, it's not. We're not a destination. So I think this front office is going to do what they got to do. I'm very big on Michael Winger and Will Dawkins and Travis Schlenk. The track record speaks for itself, and taking the time to talk to these guys know what they're doing. These guys believe in what they're doing, and they're going to do it right, and they're going to take the time to do it right, man. So definitely appreciate the comment. Again, he says, I have my way. Nate McMillan would be my pick, but it'll be Keefe. Yeah, I think it's going to be Keefe. Nate McMillan is definitely a dark horse candidate, though. But Brian Keefe, I think, is the man. Nelson again says, bulldozer. I feel you, man, but I still see him coming, man. He also said, or Kenny Atkinson. That is Ed's. That's his guy. And, Kenny Atkinson was definitely a guy that E liked, man. So, we'll see. We'll see if he would want to take a rebuilding job. But I think you already got the candidate on the payroll already. CJ Williams says, you're on early tonight. Normally being from the UK, I listen to these in the morning. Much love from the UK, man. The future is bright for DC. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate much love from across the pond, man. Definitely appreciate you taking the time, man. I know there's a little bit of a time difference, so appreciate you, bro. Definitely appreciate you taking the time, man, to listen to me and rock with me, man. So appreciate you. And again, I'm kind of early tonight, man, because 7:00 Eastern time in the United States is the NFL draft. So I'm trying to, get this content, rock with you guys, and I'm probably gonna sit down and have me a bourbon and watch the second and third rounds of the NFL draft myself. So, but again, appreciate you, man, from across the pond, our cousins across the pond. Modax O says, if Keefe continues 2024, Deni Boy would become Denny Dog by next season. He knows how to use him, Kispert, and Poole very well. Thank you. Great point. He got the most out of them. And you can attribute a lot of breaking out offensively to Brian Keefe. Now, was Denny starting to show signs that he was breaking out early in the year? Yeah, but this offense is so stagnant and no adjustments. Is just Brian Keefe got this offense rolling. And I think that you'll be crazy not to attribute a lot of Denny's success to Brian Keefe. Now, obviously, you got to give it to Deni himself just to work and add these certain tools to his offensive tool bag. So a lot of credit goes to Deni. But Brian Keefe got a reaction out of these guys, and there's a reason why this locker room is behind him. That a lot of these guys want him to come back. They do, and because a lot, when a lot of, myself included, when a lot of reporters and other sports outlets who are at the exit interviews asked them, "What are your expectations? What attributes do you want to see from your next head coach?" All of them echoed what Brian Keefe provides his organization. So, I think a lot of them are behind him. DC Onion, my guy. What's up, man? How you doing? I've always wanted Mark Jackson to be our coach. He's a real leader, man. I think he's a real dark horse. I don't know what happened as far as Golden State because I didn't think he was a bad coach. I kind of studied it and kind of investigated a little bit. He's a very religious guy, and I guess to a certain degree that might have rubbed a few people the wrong way. I hope that's not the case, man. But I guess his personality may, rub people the wrong way. There's, certain reports here and there. And like I said, you're not going to get the full gist of things unless you're in the building. But for some reason, he's just blackballed. I don't get it, because he was a decent coach. And he laid the framework for Steve Kerr to come in there and get the championships. And I'm not taking anything away from Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, definitely has done a heck of a job in Golden State and is a good coach. But, I think Mark Jackson, man, he's a dark horse candidate. He really is. I have not gotten the full gist of why he's not able to get opportunities, man. I don't get it. CJ Williams said the players have gravitated to Brian Keefe. Even leaders on the court need a guy they all respect and bounce off. Keefe is that guy for now. Absolutely. And like I said, we get to the point where we're close to the contention, where we get that one key acquisition as far as player, the star to help us push over the top, to add to our current core. Then maybe a coach is going to be like, like Doc Rivers, who kind of always wants to roll into a job that's already set up for a championship. So, you could see that. But, like I said, if Brian Keefe gets the reaction and ends up being a really good coach during the rebuild, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if he isn't, then maybe you go out there and we throw some money at somebody who wants to bring, take a young team to the playoffs and try to get us to our next championship, because it's been a minute. Let's see. Link said, I don't think Keefe is bad. We just need to see what he can do with a good roster. I agree. That's a good point. He did well with a young roster that is still in the early stages of a rebuild. Can he evolve to the point where he can lead a good roster to the next level, the promised land? That's a good point, man. That's definitely a good point. So we got a couple more comments. We're going to call it a night. Guru Strong, what's good? Mark, not trying to coach. He doing his podcast. I haven't seen any indication that he wanted to coach again, but maybe you reach out and kind of gauge where he's at. But again, I think Brian Keefe's the guy. But, again, Mark Jackson wasn't too bad as a coach. I don't understand why he's been blackballed. Like, he did well in Golden State. Now, you could tell that there were some issues as far as maybe some friction between him and some players. I don't know who the players are. Maybe I hope that him being religious is not a reason why people don't want to be a coach. Because, but, obviously I think it's a personality thing. He rubbed people the wrong way, and, if you look at the current setup in DC, man, they like the coach. So maybe I still think you do your due diligence, but I still think Brian Keefe's the guy. Guru Strong. Oh, my bad. Guru Strong said, sign John Wall. I wish, brother. I think that ship has sailed, man. But I think that I'm, I want to see John Wall get back in an organization in some capacity. I definitely want to see, the fallout with him and Ted Leonsis get better, because look, you got Gilbert Arenas back in the building, and Gilbert Arenas bringing guns to the locker room. So, you can argue which one's worse and gang signs on video, which one's better or worse. I'm not going to get into that. But I think that if you're ready to build a relationship again with Gilbert Arenas, sooner or later you get to a point where, especially since John Wall is probably the most beloved Wizards player in DC, man. You got to bring him back to a certain degree and definitely let him come back to the organization, in my opinion. Sheldon T said, sup, Brandon? Keefe is okay if we keep him cheap in short term. I agree. I agree. I'm not saying that he should be the coach for the next 10 years. Definitely let him showcase himself. He's definitely going to be cheap because he's going to be a first-time head coach, and it's definitely going to be short-term during the rebuild. He's going to be evaluation time. But, with David Vanderpool behind him, he's going to have the think tank, and they're going to fill out the rest of the coaching staff, but they're going to provide a lot of guys behind him to make his job a lot easier. So, I think he's shown that he can do the job right now. So we'll see. Guru Strong also said, interview Sam Cassell and Bud, please. Yeah, I'm with you. Sam Cassell and Mike Budenholzer would definitely be two guys that, they got to do the due diligence. So definitely go out there and talk to Sam Cassell, because he was Bradley Bill's go-to guy. And look, he's another candidate to be a first-time head coach. And I hate to be in the position of getting another first-time head coach, but we're early on in the rebuild, and it's going to be hard to lure one of these big-name coaches to coach a rebuilding team, man. It really is. So I definitely think you throw money at Mike Budenholzer and you talk to him, but it's very, like I said, he's one of my least candidates, man, least likely candidates to come to DC. Abel Ambrosio, man, what's up, man? You watching? Hey, Abel, man, what you think about Jaden Daniels, man? I'm just trying to say, man. Jaden Daniels, a new QB1 in DC. Abel said, if you had to pick a word to describe Wizards season, what would it be? Oh, man, good question. Let's see. One word. Interesting. I'm going to say interesting because we were not very good, but we do have some interesting pieces. Brian Keefe is very interesting to see how far he can go as a coach. Deni Avdija, how high is his ceiling? Bilal Coulibaly, how long are we going to wait for him to evolve the offense? And when he does, how high can he go? Corey Kispert being that 3-level guy, can he, there's a lot of intrigue. So I'm gonna say interesting. There's a lot of intrigue. I get it. We were the worst team in team history, but there's a lot of intriguing players and components on this team. So I'm gonna say interesting. Good question, man. Sheldon T said Cassell would be interesting. Absolutely. I think you definitely reach out to Sam Cassell. Guru Sean said that the NBA is anti-God. Religion may be a factor. I'm not gonna get into that. I got my own opinions, and matter of fact, you guys, you see my Twitter handle. If that's a conversation you want to have further, definitely hit me up, DM me on my Twitter handle, Brandon_7 Scott at Twitter or AKA X, and we can have that conversation. I'm not gonna get into it, but to a certain degree, a very valid point. To a certain degree. UF Sadan says, do you think Kuz is going to stay next season? If you look at this team friendly deal, he could be moved, but then there's other arrows to point at. The fact that they, consulted him about a potential trade. The fact that, he's setting up businesses in the DC area. The fact that he's a leader for his team. All arrows point to him being here for, at least to the end of his contract. But, again, it's a team friendly deal. And depending on where we go in the draft, especially at his position, if you go and get an Alex Sarr, I'm slotting Alex Sarr in at the 4. So, you don't really have to feel compelled to start Alex Sarr right away because you have Kyle Kuzma. You develop Sarr, and then when Sarr's ready to take that step, then you move Kuz. But, 3 years, he could be moved in the final year of his deal. But I think he's very comfortable here. I think he's very comfortable. And most of these guys are comfortable. I mean, even Tyus Jones is comfortable here, as far as him and his family, they want to stay. I mean, Landry Shaman said a lot about the culture and the atmosphere. So, it's a lot of moving pieces, man. It's very early. Like I said, the NBA season is still rolling. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things have to happen, but we're going to get a clearer picture, especially after the NBA finals. Sheldon T said, apparently need to ask if Kuz, if he's okay first. I know, right? Abel, man, my man, says, man, I love the pick. As an LSU fan, I'm so pumped. Let's build around him. Absolutely. Jaden Daniels, man, is electrifying. Very electrifying, man. I got a couple. I got a friend, my boy Matt, man, who's a Patriots fan. For some reason, he's not high on Drake May. I mean, Drake May, I think, is good in New England. But look, Jaden Daniels, man, I love his moxie. I love his swag. Look, he's gonna come in DC. He's gonna. I'm telling you, better days for the Commanders, man. In my opinion, Sheldon T says Commanders now need an old offensive tackle or two to protect Daniels, like the pick. Yeah, man. I think because a lot of left tackles came off the board, man. I know that Rosengarten out of Washington, he's available. He played right tackle for Penix, which Penix to Atlanta was mind-boggling, but. There's some options in the second round, and we definitely need other pieces, man. Lockdown corner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, man, is still in the mix. He dropped the second round. So again, man, like I said, I'll be watching the draft. Hey, hit me up on Twitter, y'all, if you guys want to chop it up from football. But man, I'm very excited. Let's see. Alex and Adelaide said, hey, Brandon, which team is on your MLB cap? Woo. It is the Washington Senators. So it's an old school hat. I'm gonna give you guys, for you guys who don't know my baseball story. Obviously I grew up in the Washington DC area, so I was a Baltimore Orioles fan for a long time. And I was going to continue being a fan even in 2005 when the Nationals or the Montreal Expos became the Washington Nationals. I mean, I've spent more time in my life in DC than Baltimore, even though I go to Baltimore a lot more now than DC. So my loyalty is the DC, but I was an Orioles fan till in 2005. The owner at the time, and he just passed away not too long ago, but Peter Angelos made a comment, and he said, there are no real baseball fans in DC. It rubbed me the wrong way, and ever since 2005, I rode the Nationals. Now, 2019, I kind of missed the O's, man, and I got kids, man, and I remember as a young man going to games with my parents, and I kind of missed the atmosphere at Camden Yards, so I started rooting for both of them in 2019. And so when the Nats and the O's play, my wife's the O's fans, and I'm the Nats fan, so I give her a hard time, but right now the O's are looking a lot better than the Nats, but I love both of them, man. So I'm one's an American League, one's National League, so I roll with both of them, man. But it's old school hat, man, because you guys forget, your old school baseball fans forget that DC had two Senator teams, and they ended up being the Minnesota Twins, and it ended up being the Texas Rangers. So we've had our fair share of teams in DC, man. Abel said, but for real, what in the world did the Falcons do, man? Man, apparently Kirk Cousins was not very happy. I mean, I don't understand why you draft Michael Penix in the first round, and there's so many other needs. You could have went out there and got another receiver to help out Drake, man. I don't get that, So I think most people in the NFL world are very flabbergasted why they chose Michael Penix. I saw Penix going to Oakland, and it's going to be intriguing to see what Oakland does with quarterback, man, because with Bo Nix being the last of the 6 in the first round. So let's see. Link says, I've been watching Locked On Wizards since January 2023, I believe. And then the bright side of this year is that I think we all wanted this type of rebuild back then. I agree. I've been a guy who I think we should have rebuilt as soon as John Wall went down with a second injury. You should have gave him time to get right. We should have rebuilt. The year that we sent Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers and, in exchange for Kyle Kuzma, Trez, the list goes on. There was rumors that, Russ said, hey, Brad, right now's the time for you to go if you want to go to another team. And it was a report at the time that the Golden State Warriors offered the 7th, the 14th pick, which ended up being Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, including Wiggins and James Wiseman. I would have took that any day of the week. So we waited too long, man. We waited too long to rebuild, but we're finally there. And like I said, we're gonna do it right. And I think this front office, they have my confidence. Like I said, I've sit there and had a 20-minute conversation with Michael Winger, man. And dope dude, but he has a vision. They have a plan. They're going to do it right. So rest assured, man, we definitely have a front office. They're going to do it right. Guru Song says, I'm still not all over Mike Messina leaving to go to the Yankees. Oh, man. You remember that, man? That was just, wow. The Moose was my favorite pitcher of all time. Still is, as far as the Orioles. Mike Messina is my favorite. Now, as far as Nationals, man, it's between Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg. But yeah, that was hard one as an O's fan, man. Let's see. I'm going to do a couple more, guys, because we're getting to about 6:30. So JH said, I switched over once we got the Nats too. I still got love for the O's. Yeah, me too. Like I said, I was going to root for both. But the comment, there's no real baseball fans in DC. It's like, really, man? People know that a lot of people made the drive from DC and Virginia to Camden Yards when the O's were in, man, or when the O's were the only team in the DMV. So, for him to make that comment to rub me the wrong way, but I missed Camden Yards, man. For you guys who have never been to Camden Yards, it's probably one of the most beautiful stadiums ever. And not too long ago, I went to PNC Park in Pittsburgh. That's my number 2. Those two are probably the most beautiful stadiums I've ever been to. So definitely recommend it. So last comment of the night, CJ Williams. With Deni's huge jump from last year, you reckon he could average a double-double next season? 20, 10, and 6, for example. What do you reckon his ceiling is? That is a good question. And I think that you could see that. That could be the best case scenario. 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 20 points. I could definitely see that being his ceiling for the season coming up. Like I said, if you want to talk about All-Star, I think that the year after next year is definitely a season where you want to see Deni make that All-Star jump. To me, the biggest thing is consistency. So, hey guys, we're going to go ahead and roll. Like I said, football fans, 7 o'clock, second round of the NFL draft. And again, man, for all you fans over in Israel, in the UK, man, definitely appreciate you guys. I know the time difference. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your sleep schedule to rock with your boy, man. So definitely appreciate it. Real quick, looking forward, everybody. Looking forward this week coming up. We're definitely going to look at a little bit of free agency. We're going to look at, but we're going to, and obviously getting close to the draft, we're going to do a lot more draft content, a lot of draft content. So much y'all going to get tired of, man. So we could definitely going to be ready for the draft when it's all said and done. So again, man, definitely appreciate you guys. Definitely appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys Sunday night. So again, appreciate you guys taking the time to rock with your boy, man. I hope everybody has a blessed weekend. Everybody drink responsibly. Definitely do not drink and drive. Be safe. Stay blessed. So again, appreciate you guys, man. See you guys Sunday night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. Take care.